Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Rishabh and I am going to read and only read for you all guys almost all the chapters of 9th ICSE. So let's begin. So today I am going to read chapter 9 Weathering from the textbook Total Geography. Let's start reading. The internal forces operating in the interior of the earth as are described as constructive forces because they lead to the formation of landforms on the surface of the earth. Some forces also operate on the surface of the earth. They are known as exogenic forces. Exo in Greek means outside. These external forces act on the surface of the earth through several processes such as weathering, mass wasting, erosion, transportation, deposition, and formation of soils. These forces derive their energy from the sun. In all these cases, climate acts as a driving agent. Weathering. Weathering is the process of breakdown of rocks but not its removal. It is described as disintegration or decomposition of a rock in the size by natural agents at or near the surface of the earth. It is so called because the disintegration or decomposition of the rocks takes place only by being exposed. It is the change in weather conditions like temperature, moisture, precipitation that integrate or break down the rocks. Weathering cannot take place on the moon's surface where such conditions do not exist. The footprints left on the moon by astronauts will last for millions of years. Thus, weathering is the basic process and an essential phase of denudation as described above. Chief characteristics of weathering. Weathering involves disintegration or decay of solid rocks. It depends on climatic elements and on the characteristics of rocks. For example, the rock's chemical composition, hardness, texture, and its permeability, allowing water to penetrate, determines the weathering pattern. Weathering affects the surface of the earth. Weathering causes formation of soil. Weathering involves not only but several processes to cause disintegration of rocks. Weathering changes hard massive rocks into finer materials. It prepares rock material for transportation by agents of gradation. Types of weathering. Weathering, as already stated, is a static process. The disintegration of rocks may occur through physical forces, chemical forces, or by roots of plants, animals, insects, etc. Weathering is of three types: physical, chemical, and biological. Physical weathering. Physical weathering is also known as mechanical weathering. It involves rock disintegration without any change in the chemical constituents of the rock. Main factors responsible for physical weathering are temperature changes, moisture, frost action, and wind. Weathering due to changes in temperature is more rapid in hot deserts. It is because temperature changes as are sharpest in the desert. Block disintegration. The sudden rise and fall of temperature causes expansion and contraction of rocks. The repeated action causes their breakdown. At night the temperature suddenly falls and during the day it rises suddenly. This leads to tension and splitting of rocks known as block disintegration. Granular disintegration. Since rocks are made up of different minerals, weathering may also reduce rocks to pieces and fragments. Disintegration. The granular disintegration may also take place in cold places and at high altitudes. The cracks and joints of rocks are filled with water during the day, and at night the water freezes, leading to rupture of rocks on account of repeated actions of melting and freezing. This is called frost action. Exfoliation. Sudden temperature changes may also cause fissures into which water penetrates, which in turn stimulates chemical weathering. Most rocks are not good conductors of heat. The sudden contraction and expansion peels off the outer layer known as exfoliation. Chemical weathering. In chemical weathering, some or all of the minerals in the rocks suffer decay or alteration by such agents such as water, oxygen, carbon, or various organic acids. It leads to decomposition of rocks and minerals as chemical reaction transform them into different chemical combinations. The chemical weathering of rocks is accomplished in a number of ways, and each one is given a name to distinguish the different processes involved. Four main processes are oxidation, carbonation, hydration, and solution. Oxidation. It means reaction of minerals in rocks to atmospheric oxygen. The rainwater also contains atmospheric oxygen. On coming into contact with iron compounds in rocks, the iron starts rusting or crumbling. The color of the rock also changes to red, yellow, or brown. Carbonation. Many mineral constituents of rock, such as carbon dioxide, while coming in contact with water, produce acidic effect on rocks. This action dissolves most calcareous rocks such as gypsum, marble, and limestone. However, this action should not be mistaken for solution. In the case of carbonation, rainwater converts calcium carbonate into calcium bicarbonate, which is soluble and is taken away by the groundwater. Hydration. In this process, expansion of minerals occur in coming into contact with rainwater. These minerals become heavy and start disintegrating. This action, though can be termed as physical or chemical or mechanical, its effect in hydration is a chemical process. Rocks like feldspar are converted into kaolin. Solution. It is a process in which minerals in the rocks dissolve in water. All rocks are subjected to solution to some extent. The rate at which solution takes place is affected not only by the mineral composition of the rock but also by its structure. For example, sedimentary rocks have pore spaces between the grains in which air and water can lodge and thus attack the rocks. Some rock minerals such as salts are more soluble in water than others. For example, rainwater causes chemical disintegration of rock salt and gypsum. Biological weathering. It is also known as organic weathering. Its main agents are animals, insects, plants, and man. In all the cases, however, both physical disintegration or chemical decomposition are involved. This is because all biological matter is made up of oxygen and water, the two substances that set off reaction of minerals in rocks. Next page. Humans. Man is the most active agent of both physical and chemical weathering of rocks. For example, mining, excavations, construction of roads, buildings, etc. cause physical disintegration of rocks. Agriculture dumping of chemicals and waste underground promote both physical and chemical weathering. Plants. Roots of large trees reach deep into rocks and cause physical disintegration due to pressure. Most of the vegetation, however, prevents disintegration of rocks because it binds the surface layer and does not allow exposure of rocks beneath to the elements of weathering. Animal and insects. Animals like rabbits, worms, moles, and insects bring large quantities of fine material to the surface. Burrowing animals help to loosen the surface material around the rocks, facilitating their physical disintegration. Upon death, the decaying animal also provide many chemical and acids for rock disintegration. Weathering in different climatic regions. From the processes of weathering discussed above, it is clear that climate is the most important factor. For example, physical weathering is more rapid in desert climates and chemical weathering occurs in moist and cold climates.